the latest ITV news in the Tyne Tees region.
With Amy and Helen Ford.
Hello there, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on tonight's programme. Cheers to that. Pub owners toast a trailed change in business rates that could help to keep the drinks flowing. The calm before, during and after the storm. Most of the region escapes Goretti, but there's more snow and cold weather on the way. Light lunch. Greg's boss says that skinny jabs are taking a bite out of their profits. And tropical retreat. How Sally the Sloth's escaping the cold at Northumberland Zoo. First tonight, and the North East is often associated with people going out having a good time in the pub, and those good times could be able to continue with a change that it's hoped could help them to survive. Yes, the government is considering a package of relief for the hospitality sector after business rates were put up in the budget last year. They say it's not a U-turn, but as our correspondent Chris Jepson's been hearing, those working in the industry say they need certainty and security.
U-turn after U-turn after U-turn. No, you're not drunk, it's just another government U-turn. This time the potential scrapping of a planned hike in business rates for pubs, something that's both welcomed by places like this, but they say doesn't really deal with the main issue at hand.
Everyone knows that since COVID there have been challenges. My argument would be that those challenges are pretty much all related to government decisions and not decisions made by us as publicans or by our customers. But wages are going up quicker than beer. Sale prices are going up. That doesn't balance. You then add into that insurance tax goes up and national insurance goes up, and it seems every budget, and the last budget, remember, was only 8 months ago, we get a huge sway of the costs come in, and we're trying to plan 3, 4, 5 years ahead like the government are, but they're just changing the rules on us every few months.
And that's not good for what the government says it wants, growth.
It's not going to help growth, it's not going to help confidence, it's not going to help banks and investors who want to invest with us, it's not going to help our suppliers, our landlords. I also think it's not going to help our staff. We need people to want to work in this industry. We just need, quite frankly, to be left alone.
The campaign for Real Ale has been lobbying government for more long-term, sustained policies on the industry, but say continuous changes are impacting pubs in our region.
In the North East, in the last year, 2025, we saw 74 pubs close.
What impacts does that have, not just on the businesses themselves, but also the local community and economy?
The pubs that are seeing the impact more than any are the local community pubs, and they are really necessary in our society for the well-being of local communities. We want the government to introduce business rates for pubs that are substantially lower than what they're currently paying.
The government says scrapping the rates hike is not a U-turn, but until the full details are announced, happiness amongst pub landlords is overshadowed by scepticism over constant political tinkering of the industry. Chris Jepson, ITV News, Newcastle.
Well, political correspondent Leisha McNally is in Westminster for us tonight, and Leisha, critics will call this again another climb down for the government.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we had those changes to inheritance tax for farmers announced right before Christmas. The end to a turbulent year for the government with a string of high-profile U-turns on issues like welfare cuts and winter fuel. Now, what Labour would say is that shows the government is in listening mode, that they heard those concerns from hospitality and are taking sensible steps to help. Let's hear now from the MP for Redcar, who's also a government minister.
Through the budget, we put in £4.3 billion of extra support for pubs and small businesses. But if pubs are saying to us that they're still really struggling and that the climate is really difficult, I think it's absolutely right as a government that we continue to help support them and look at what more we can do for the sector.
Now, Labour MPs may well be raising a glass to celebrate this announcement. After all, many of them were actually banned from their local pub over Christmas, so strong was the anger about these business rates. But however popular, there is always a moment of political peril in any announcement that could be perceived as a U-turn, because it leaves your critics quick to ask the killer question: if so many tweaks and changes and climb downs are needed, is this just a government that makes bad ideas?
Anything the government can do to U-turn, the better. But it also goes to the Chancellor's judgment. Because they won't take tough decisions on spending, they keep coming back with more and more taxes on business. I don't think they really understand business, and they certainly don't understand the damage that's being done.
Well, we wait to see the details of this support for pubs, but with calls now for Labour to extend it to other hospitality businesses like hotels, one thing is clear: the government can't call time on this row quite yet.
Leisha at Westminster for us this evening. Thank you very much indeed.
Next tonight, and while other parts of the country have been bearing the brunt of a severe winter storm, here we appear to have got away relatively unscathed.
Yeah, Storm Goretti's brought red danger to life warnings and snow and wind to the south. But here the impact has mostly just been felt on much higher ground.
Well, our correspondent Greg Steele has been out and about for us today. And Greg, what's it been like?
Well, as you can see, we're up on some of that high ground now on the border into County Durham at the top of the North Pennines. And Storm Goretti has been making its presence felt here. Take a look at some of the pictures that we've been shooting since just after first light this morning. And fair to say that the snow was coming down in steady pulses relatively heavily, causing problems for motorists. Not that there were many on the roads. Hard going for livestock, and of course hard going for the people who earn their livelihoods up in this countryside. But on lower ground, down in places like Staindrop, instead of showing up as heavy snow, Storm Goretti showed up instead as heavy rain. Much easier going for motorists. We were also warned, though, up until about lunchtime today to expect ice, and we've seen that too in some pretty unusual circumstances. Much further north of here, up in Northumberland, the River Wansbeck frozen up completely. But if you're watching this evening and feeling pretty warm and snug in your home, best not to feel too warm and smug, because we are told there's bad weather on the way this weekend. More of that in a moment with Ross. But there's also a warning to motorists about making sure, if you're out and about this weekend, that you carry some of those basics. Things like de-icer, things like scrapers, and also food, a blanket, hot drinks. And not only that, too many of us probably think, oh, I'm okay if I've got my mobile phone with me. Well, not if it hasn't got any charge. In short, the message one of, don't put too much faith in these little tin boxes in case they either find that they can't move or won't move in snowy weather.
Greg, thank you. Good advice there. Well, let's bring Ross in now. And as Greg suggested, we're not out of the woods yet.
No, well, as I said, we didn't see the worst of Storm Goretti, but that doesn't mean we didn't see any conditions at all that have been dangerous at times, particularly with the snowfall. Yeah. I'm going to say impressive in the sense that from how it looked from the sky. Have a look at this. It was a major event, this storm. For the south of the country, we saw gusts of up to 100 miles an hour. Significant snowfall, heavy rain as well. You can see for us, it just switched things around. We start seeing those showers coming from the North Sea. Again, that mixture of rain, sleet and snow. You probably noticed this morning for many, even where it rained, it then brought the ice and deceptively icy really at times today. Yeah. And it's a similar story into tomorrow because we have seen further rainfall. There's more showers dotted around again. So again, it's snow and ice. It's going to be hit and miss. I do want to draw attention, though, to Sunday at the moment. We do have some rain moving its way in from the west. It's going to hit the cold air that's over the UK. That's going to turn to snow, particularly over higher ground, and again the risk of ice too. There is still a lot of wintry weather to come. There is some better news though. Things will turn a bit milder into next week if you're waiting for that.
And you'll be back later with the forecast.
I'll be back later.
And the weather will be dominating the headlines in the national news, the ITV evening news tonight. It follows us at 6:30.
Coming up in the ITV Evening News, Storm Goretti's disruption, trees toppled, tens of thousands lose power, the sting of the powerful winds which battered Britain. Travel and school disruption too, as snow blew in and blanketed parts of the country. Their TikToker jailed for 9 years after causing a crash that killed a grandmother. And the Princess of Wales reflects on her cancer journey as she celebrates her birthday. All that and more from 6:30.
Now, here's a very 2026 story. Greggs have said that there is no doubt that the rise of weight loss jabs have impacted their business.
Yes, the boss of the Newcastle-based bakery chain says they're having to make changes to their menu because more people are using the drugs, which suppress the appetite.
Well, our correspondent Tom Barton is in the centre of Newcastle for us tonight with more on this. Tom.
Yes, Amy, this news came in a trading update from Greggs, the bakery chain, which is, of course, based here in Newcastle, but has more than 2,700 branches across the country. They said they'd had a difficult end to 2025 with low consumer confidence, rising taxes, higher costs, all having an impact. So far, so normal. But the company's chief executive, Roisin Curry, also said that there is no doubt that the rise of weight loss jabs is also having an impact on the business. And so, at lunchtime today, I spoke to some of those picking up their sausage rolls and steak bakes here on the quayside to ask them whether they thought the company was right to be worried.
You're your own person. If you want to lose weight, lose weight. Greg shouldn't be worried about it. They've been going on for years.
You don't think it'll affect their business? Because they think it will.
No, it won't. People in the north keep eating, don't they? So
I don't think there should be a concern. I think they'll still keep going. I think they'll be fine.
You think they're safe?
Yeah.
Safe from Manjaro?
Yeah, definitely.
Every time you pass a Greggs, there's always a queue of people in there. But I think they'll still just keep going to Greggs next one.
You don't think the weight loss jabs are going to put people off?
No, I don't think so, no.
I don't think they need to be worried. I don't think there's that many people that are taking it that it's going to impact them that much. But yeah, I think they should be okay. They're a pretty big business. I think they can handle themselves.
So Greg's customers aren't worried, but the boss says she is taking action by adding more jab-friendly items to the menu. So last year they put on boiled egg pots for lunchtime. This year they've added overnight oats with seeds and berries to their breakfast menu. But those less diet-friendly items, the hot snacks, like those sausage rolls and steak bakes, still remain hugely important to this business, selling an average of 1.3 million hot items every week last year.
That is a lot of sausage rolls and steak bakes and the cheese and onion ones as well. Tom in Newcastle for us this evening, thank you very much indeed.
You're watching ITV News Tyne Teas. Still to come on tonight's programme, the third round of the FA Cup and a North East derby. Simon will be here with the sport.
And taking it slowly, we meet the sloth in the snow, adjusting to its new life, staying warm in Northumberland. Next, flexibility is meant to be a big part of the modern day workplace, but some men say that the reality is actually very different, with requests being refused and fears over career damage stopping many from even asking.
In fact, new research indicates that 3/4 of working fathers think there is a stigma around taking time off work for family, as Kevin Ashford reports.
From school runs to spreadsheets, George loves being a hands-on dad. His tech job allows him to work from home and manage his hours around childcare.
So about 1.5 years ago, I went full-time remote, so it's an amazing change for me and my family. It means I don't lose an hour and a half in the commute every day. It means I can spend that time helping get the kids up, get them out the door, get them to bed. And it's really changed things. It means me and my wife can have a much more even balance. It means I get to be a really present father while also kicking butt at my job.
But not every dad is as lucky. Simon, whose name we've changed to protect his identity, asked for flexible hours to spend more time with his son. His request was rejected.
It was quite quickly pointed out to me that if they couldn't use me enough in the week, then I might also be let go. It definitely felt in the office that you had to commit as much of your time as possible, and just always feels quite precarious.
To help people manage their work-life balance, the right to ask for flexible working from your first day became law in 2024. But new research from working families shows that 3/4 of working dads think there's still a stigma around taking time off for family. 1/4 worry it'll damage their career and make them look less committed. And 1/5 have been asked if their wife or partner could cover childcare instead. With more dads keen to embrace equal parenting, campaigners say company policy needs to reflect modern families.
We are in a place now where it's not just men earning the bacon and women cooking it. We're all earning and cooking and cleaning and raising the next generation. And until there's equal parenting, until there's equal flexibility given to mums and dads, the gender pay gap will continue to widen.
But as this HR consultant in Newcastle explains, businesses don't have to accept flexible working requests.
Every employee has a day one right now for flexible working. So in theory, you could start employment on a Monday and put in the request on the Monday morning. It is legally allowed. However, it doesn't mean that it necessarily has to be accepted. But what's important is employers have to show and demonstrate that it's being given due and correct consideration.
In a statement, the government told ITV News they're making changes with the new Employment Rights Act so that flexible working requests are accepted where reasonably feasible. But without a cultural reset, many dads, like Simon, say balancing work and family remains a struggle. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
Time for sport now, and it's FA Cup's third round weekend.
Powering local sport in the community, Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
So the FA Cup third round used to be one of the most exciting weekends in the football calendar. But Simon, is that still the case these days?
No. That's the short answer.
Say what you really feel, Simon.
That's the short answer. There's a slightly longer answer, but it's basically still no.
Right.
It's not that the FA Cup itself is worthless in 2026, it's just the start of the journey doesn't seem to matter as much, and our third round ties are not inspiring. Where is the magic? Is the magic still there? All right, Sunderland 73 stuff doesn't happen every day, but is there any FA Cup magic left? Specifically in the third round. It used to be giant killer heaven, now it's more like rest your best players hell.
Once you get to the latter stages of the competition, I think there is still a bit of magic and teams clearly go strong then. But I think it's undeniable that third round weekend, after a massive packed festive programme, the players are running on empty and the teams just have different priorities.
And that's the problem for all three of our teams. Let's start with Sunderland away at Everton. The Black Cats should be safe in the Premier League, but they aren't there yet, so is there the will to go for it in the Cup?
It's really prestigious. We are just on the edge in the winter after this festive period, but at the same time, in our mind, later in the season, it could be really important for the mood, for the ambition of the club, so it's important to make the right decision.
But what about the magic? Let's do magic marks out of 10, with 10 being total magic and 0 being no magic at all.
I mean, for the first time in the week at Brentford, it looked like Sunderland were running out of steam, so I think Regis Subris has got to change his side up. 5 out of 10. Carabao Cup semi-final coming up, Champions League games, you know, they've been playing Premier League games seemingly non-stop since August. There'll be changes there as well. Bournemouth will make changes. 4 out of 10.
We really need to make sure that we focus on this one because we want to progress, we want to do well in every competition that we play in. And we can't have our eyes focused on the Manchester City game or future games.
Little bit better. Yeah, I'll go 6 for that. I still think Kim Hellberg will make changes for Borough, and again, second in the table. Obviously, their massive priority is trying to get promoted. The FA Cup's not their priority. But at least it's a little bit different for them going to a Premier League club. A load of Borough fans going down to Craven Cottage. There'll be a decent atmosphere there.
Such a big interest for the English football in Sweden, so it's been a day we watched those games at home. Like I told you, I think I've watched the English football for over 30 years close, so that would be special to take part of this cup. It would be a very special moment in a lot of ways, going to play a Premier League team, going into the cup, first cup game.
The enthusiasm and curiosity of a recently arrived football coach from Sweden is perhaps a point in Borough's favour at Premier League Fulham tomorrow. But apart from that, it's not a hugely magical third-round weekend for the North East. Doing well in the Premier League, staying in the Premier League and getting in the Premier League are all more important at this time of year. But accidents happen, miracles happen. This year's FA Cup final is on Saturday the 16th of May. Best keep the date clear for now. And the Women's FA Cup reaches the fourth round next weekend, but this weekend is a big deal in Super League 2. Newcastle United have a crucial promotion showdown against Birmingham City at the International Stadium. The Magpies are fourth, and a win would put them level on points with second-placed Birmingham. Durham and Sunderland aren't realistically in the promotion race anymore, so maybe derby days and bragging rights will become more important. We'll see on Sunday. It's the River Wear derby at Maiden Castle, with Durham looking for revenge against Sunderland, who beat them earlier in the season.
It's one of our biggest games of the season, and I think because it's always been historically the biggest derby for us, and I'm sure it is for them as well. Obviously there's other teams coming into the league now, which makes it a little bit more exciting, but I think for us this is the one that we look forward to most in the calendar.
It's always been Durham, like you say, for a long time, and the rivalry is probably a little bit fiercer with Durham because it's been there for longer. It's a really tough place to go, Maiden Castle. Really different type of pitch and different type of ground, but we have had a good run there as well.
Away from football this weekend probably won't be as good as last weekend, but it could still be good. Newcastle Red Bulls won their first Rugby Union Premiership game in more than a year against Gloucester last weekend. Tomorrow they play French side Perpignan in the European Challenge Cup. The Newcastle Eagles men reached the final of the Super League Basketball Trophy. They lost the second leg of the semi-final at Cheshire, but won on aggregate. They play Cheshire again on Sunday in the league. Excuse me. Before that, the Eagles play the London Lions at home tonight. That's a dress rehearsal for the trophy final.
I was going to give Simon a 10 out of 10 then, but it's a 9. It's all right. Don't
he needs a
worry.
sweet.
I think he does, yeah, or some water or something like that. A drink. It is Friday. Now, it's been a cold week. Cold first week back to work for most of us, and we're probably all feeling a bit slow, and might be a weekend for hunkering down and hibernating, maybe.
Yes, on the other hand, you might want to think about booking a holiday and heading somewhere tropical. At Northumberland Zoo, there's one resident who, in a manner of speaking, is already there, as Ross explains.
Waiting out the cold weather can be a bit boring when the ice means your pool's been drained for safety reasons. At least there's some sunshine to bask in. It's the first time in a week these meerkats at Northumberland Zoo have been seen outside of their heated den. But for many of the animals here, this wintry weather can be taken in their stride. For some, the clue is in their name. For snow leopards, this is nothing. Or this Arctic fox, looking out for more of the white stuff. And, yes, not forgetting the snowy owls. But the newest resident here has no idea how cold it is outside or the enormous effort that's being made to keep her warm, tropical even. Hello, Maxine, nice to see you again.
There you go.
So where is she?
She's just up there.
Oh, yes. Meet Sally, the two-toed sloth, who's spent the last few weeks settling into the rainforest lookout display and has won over visitors and keepers alike.
Sally is so sweet. She's very, very good with the keepers, and she's so gentle. And she's also very chill.
She may be chilled, but she can't be chilly.
We've got a special biomass just for heating this building and keeping it nice and warm. Sally has to be kept at around 25 degrees all the time. So this building is lovely and toasty in there for her so that her digestive system works really well.
Being so slow, Sally is still exploring her jungle home and getting used to her new neighbours. As she's part of a European breeding programme, there is hope more sloths could one day call Northumberland home, in this warm oasis in the currently frozen landscape.
It's been a little bit tricky with all the snow, obviously trying to get water out to all the animals and make sure nothing's frozen. Most of the animals hide away in the snow, but some of the animals really enjoy it.
Which is just as well, with more wintry weather on the way this weekend, at least someone's looking forward to it. Back in the warm, with the zoo closed until the end of the month, Sally can now just hang out in the peace and quiet and continue her slow exploration.
Oh, lucky Sally. Imagine basking in 25-degree warmth.
Yeah.
It's the way to do it,
Let's
isn't
all
it?
join the sloth.
Although someone has been braving the cold, in the name of journalism this week, it is time for Igloo Watch with Amy Lee.
Thank you, Ross. Well, it started off at the beginning of this week really cold, and there was a fantastic igloo that I kind of fell in love with on North Tyne side. It diminished as the temperatures started to rise a little and a little bit more, and then this was today. There's not much of an igloo left, but it could come back, that igloo.
It was your project all week, wasn't it? Every day coming in.
I become quite attached to it.
I love that because it actually showed what was happening with the snow.
Real-time melting.
Real-time melt. It was unusual to get the snow towards the coast early in the week, but there's some snow over the higher ground as we head into the weekend. With that in mind, here's your forecast.
A breezy morning will be followed up with a flurry of fresh delights for lunch. TUI sponsors ITV Tyne Tees weather.
We do still have a few wintry showers around as we head through this evening. Overnight, generally calming down, some clearer skies, a return to frost and ice, of course, into tomorrow morning. Brighter and chilly into tomorrow itself, although into Sunday, another change on the way. Rain arriving, risk of snow then over higher ground. Storm Goretti is clearing its way out towards the east. A ridge of high pressure building as we head into the weekend. So calmer day tomorrow, of course. There's the rain arriving into Sunday. It's hitting that colder air that's over the UK at the moment, and on the leading edge of this, readily turning to snow, certainly over higher ground for a time. For now, we have got that mixture of rain, sleet and snow. The showers for now working their way in from the east. They're very hit and miss. For most of us, it's staying dry. Some clearer skies developing at times as we make our way overnight. And the blues on the map here showing that widespread frost, the risk of ice, and also some patches of freezing fog, as again those temperatures will be dropping below freezing, certainly in those more rural spots. Into tomorrow morning, we're very used to this at the moment. Wintry start to the day. Few showers pushing their way in from the North Sea. Again, that mixture of rain, sleet and snow, they will start to ease as we head into the afternoon. There's more in the way of sunshine around, but even with the sunshine, breezes from a more southerly direction, temperatures only peaking at around 2 or 3 degrees. Through Saturday and into Sunday, initially, again, it's cold, frosty and icy as we head overnight. Because of that, as the rain moves its way in from the west as we look towards Sunday morning, it is turning to snow over higher ground, although later on it does revert back to rain, and there's a reason for that. As it moves its way through, actually our temperatures will start to lift. So wintry weather into Sunday, into Monday though, temperatures could be reaching back up into double figures.
TUI sponsors ITV Tyne Tees weather.
Thank you, Ross. Well, the weather will be dominating the national news, which follows us in just a moment.
I'll be back with an update just after 10:30. Have a wonderful weekend, won't you, from us all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.